Imagine there's just a bit of fog or something. I don't know how there'd be fog in the middle of the summer, but just go along with me for a second here. Somebody sneaks off in the fog, somebody very inconspicuous, like, I don't know, Mattia Catania or something like that, and the Mattia Catania rolls across the line and is the Olympic champion or something. Can you imagine? Golden Catania.
Anyway, we're going to switch the focus now to transfers. We haven't talked about them for a while. And a story that's quite fresh is, well, it doesn't seem like a huge leap, but Bora Hansgrohe had open talks to sign Red Bull sponsored Tom Pidcock, according to reports. Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this when we were talking about the Red Bull stuff. Well, I mean, all has been rumored. Yeah, obviously we know in cycling anyone could be rumored to anyone. It doesn't really mean that it's going to happen. But yeah, what do you make of Pidcock going to Bora? And I mean, Pidcock is such a strange rider. He doesn't really fit into any box.
Bear in mind to begin with that Pidcock is under contract, and it was quoted as saying it would be very tricky to get him to move over to Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe are in sort of a bit of a predicament here of you can't buy everyone and make it a team with harmony, you know? And I feel like Pidcock doesn't really fit into any role. I think he's better in this wildcard role, to be quite honest. So I think at Ineos, he has that a little bit. I think Ineos have a little bit too much faith in him. I don't think Pidcock is quite as good as Ineos seem to believe he is. But is that harsh?
I don't know, like Olympic champion mountain bike, cyclocross, but on the road.
Yeah, but we're working on the road here.
Yeah, okay. Altuve, that was a breakaway.
I think that he is like a really... He is an old one.
Giro under 23, remember that? He won that. There was the immense hype before he joined.
He's an adult now. You should be hyped up. Can I remind you, Ruben Fernandez won the Tour de l'Avenir. Where is Ruben Fernandez now?
This is all true. Didn't like Henry van den Abela do really well at the under 23 Giro? I haven't seen head or tail of him recently. Like, you know how some riders you can kind of bunch together as similar rider types, right? Pidcock, you really can't. He is like just this kind of thing in and of himself, where he is just such a rogue character, where he's like an EF star rider, just completely just out of there. Just no, he can climb, he can descend, he's got a fastest finish in a sprint. Ineos seems to try to forge him into this GC guy. Would he work better at Red Bull? I think he would do, because I think he would probably be their kind of one-day racer person, because they don't really have that many. I know they have Roglic, and Schachmann's kind of on his way back, but think about their kind of like a Liège-Bastogne-Liège or a Flèche Wallonne and Amstel Gold. They could do with somebody like Pidcock to really lead that sort of charge, especially with them not wanting to really send Roglic to one-day races because they're afraid that he's going to crash, which is a pretty logical reason. Pidcock could fulfill that role. And if he's already a Red Bull sponsored athlete or whatever, maybe Red Bull just want to collate all of their people, like the Avengers, into a one team, and it's just like they've got all these Red Bull helmets and they're like, oh, I imagine the PL. And they can get a drone behind Pidcock and do a cool PR video on a descent. It's all about PR.
Well, okay, we did undersell him a bit. Stride Bianchi as well, winning Amstel Gold, podium in Liège-Bastogne-Liège. He's a fantastic rider, even though Ewan's not a fan. Well, would he like this move as well? That's probably a better question. Would this be good for his progression?
I don't know where he's going to go in the future. In terms of like his career, to be honest, I think he's very hard to predict. There is the likelihood that Tom Pidcock doesn't quite live up to his potential. I think there's a very, very strong possibility that happens. He's got fingers in, I mean, I see that on the road sense. He's got fingers in many pies in terms of he does cyclocross, he does mountain biking, he does all this kind of stuff. But I don't think he's quite the next sort of coming of British cycling Jesus Christ that some people seem to believe he is. I am a bit of a Pidcock skeptic, to be quite honest.
I can see where you're coming from. Right.
Patrick.
That's coming.
You will be closed out of Yorkshire if you go too deep there.
I know. I'm scared.
They'll lock the door behind you, and you'll have to live in Lincolnshire for the rest of your life.
Oh my god! Imagine they don't have any hills over there. Anyway, but that's beside the point. The point is, I mean, it depends what you deem as like his potential. If you deem his potential to be a GC rider, I think he's gonna end up just, climbing up a never-ending staircase and it's just never going to end, and he's not actually going to ever, yes, could he finish in the top 10 of the Tour this year? Yeah, he could do. But what was his ceiling? Is he going to finish on the podium of the Tour? I don't think so. But, could he creep towards the top 5 if he fully dedicated himself to it? Possibly. But it's like Ineos also have, Carlos Rodriguez in there, and their series of embryos that they've got currently just growing up in their cryo chambers, trying to forge some kind of Michael Leonard, Andrew August kind of hybrid thing, which is just going to obliterate every single person in existence. I'm not even counting that out, by the way. I just think with Pidcock, he's contracted to Ineos until 2027. That's one problem. Is that does not work for contracts in cycling, where he's got to get bought out of that, and that's going to be a whole mess. And like Ewan said, he is kind of like maybe it's a wrongly placed title, he is the kind of poster boy of British cycling at the moment in terms of who is the most kind of prolific rider in that sort of sense. And I don't think Ineos, even though they don't really have this British identity anymore as much as they used to, I think they'll still be keen to hold on to Pidcock because he provides that maverick can go and do something magical and gives them hey, we've got a one-day racer still who does really cool things at the Olympics as well, and the cyclocross, and he just gives them a lot of PR to yabber on about. So I think Ineos would be reluctant to let him go.
So anyways, there's also another British rider in Ineos Grenadiers that is looking like he might also be out of the door, Ethan Hayter.
It's about time.
Yeah, this one's actually quite interesting.
I didn't think that. Wow. I like him a lot. I think he's really good.
Well, I like him too, but then he is underperforming. So
this is true. Ethan Hayter is the most hot and cold rider. There are lots of them, but I think Ethan Hayter is the one. He's so accident prone as well. I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing him going into the team. I think Ineos needs to stop pretending he is a sort of stage race leader. I know he's won a couple of stage races. I love the Tour of Poland, but it's not like, it's not a Grand Tour. Throw him in as a luxury domestique. Oh my stars. He could be so good. I'd love to see him at UAE. I know that's not where he's rumoured to, but I'd like to see him be a luxury domestique for Poggy. I think he'd be so good at it. But it's Bora he's linked to, isn't it?
Of course it is. You have Bora buying this shit.
Yeah, they're linked to everyone.
Wasn't there a Josh Tarling to Bora link as well?
Oh, right, really? I wouldn't be surprised.
To Bora, actually, as it turns out.
I'm proud to announce that I too have wings, and I am moving to Redbull Bora Hansgrohe. Who even knows if they're keeping Bora and Hansgrohe on board next year? It might be part of the contract that they need to stay on board for the rest of this year, but who knows what's happening in 2025? There might just be Red Bull cycling by then. Yeah, who else can they buy out of contracts? The men's market this year is looking a little bit thin on the ground, and now that Jasper Phillips is off the table, that's the big star they could have signed. Since Phillips looks like he's more likely to stay at Alpecin de Koning. Yeah, anyone and everyone seems to be linked to Bora Hansgrohe. So I do apologize to all of those little sort of kids and people at Bora Hansgrohe that are going to be on the chopping block soon to make way for the sort of pelotons. Sort of in FIFA, there will be gold